Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the GameDev.tv Community Podcast. I'm your host KB, and this podcast brings you the audio experience of GameDev.tv. Now, let's get right into the podcast.
Oh fuck, I pressed the picture. Wow. It's now 10k, 10,000. 10,100.
Congrats.
That is amazing.
Still feels strange to me, to be honest. If they would all be standing behind me right now, I wouldn't know what to say. but that's basically what happens, you know. I mean, like I post a picture of myself and they would all stand behind me to watch it. They would just be weird.
There's definitely like a TV show or a movie in that where like everybody's Instagram followers just appear behind them at some point.
Yeah.
That sort of oddness of people appreciating you, but appreciating you from afar. But then they come in and it's overly personal.
So let's see let's see, contact lenses for augmented reality. And so when you take a picture and post on the social media, you turn around and you see holograms of everybody that likes it.
That will be really awesome. I did work with the HoloLens when I was an intern, so it would be a cool thing. So, to be honest, it was a bit strange at that time because we were the first company in the Netherlands who had the HoloLens, so it was just figuring out and doing everything on yourself. And when I ended my internship, everything I made myself was like plug in the new updates.
That's so cool.
It was a lot of fun to experiment. I did like some drawing where you can draw in your your surroundings, and it will send the model with the drawing to the computer, so someone else could watch the whole room and something you draw. And the intention was if you were, for example, you have your car broke down, you just put your HoloLens up, call a mechanic, and you draw, and he will draw on your on your model everything what's going wrong and what you have to do to fix it.
Wow.
And you can draw back to show them what you think or what you understand. So it was a pretty fun experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Right. We need to get our hands on those HoloLenses.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
All right, so Justin, let everybody know who you are and why the 10K was so significant.
Well, I'm Justin Bieshaar. I'm from the Netherlands, as you might can hear. And
To the beginning, why did you start your Instagram all about like coding and the way you do it, like the pictures you have and the tips you give out?
well, yeah, if you go all the way down to my Instagram, you will see I started with my music career, which I just wanted to post about. I actually started Instagram just like everyone did in the Netherlands, just for your friends, just to show what you're working on and what you do and what makes you excited. And in the beginning, it was all about music. So yeah, and then eventually I broke my knee like 9 years ago with gymnastics. I was pretty good in gymnastics, but when I broke my knee, I started to like experiment with coding. No, when I broke my knee 9 years ago, I was in the hospital, and like I come from a family where we had like one shared PC at a time. So I never had a computer. I think I was on a computer like 2 hours a week, and all I did was playing RuneScape because I was pretty high in gymnastics, and I had like some small time for myself and did a lot of training, went a lot to the gym. So like 1 or 2 hours a week, I just played some RuneScape with some friends. Just that was the only game I really did. And then I was in the hospital because I broke my knee. I was there for like two and a half, almost 3 days. I had nothing to do, and I had my hands on a laptop for the first time in my life. I never had a laptop, so I got one in the hospital. And you know, if you are from that kind of perspective point that you only play games for like 1 hour, and then you have a full day, you have a laptop. I started to like think like, how is this actually be made? I had all the time. Like after 2-3 hours of gaming, I was bored. I didn't know what to do with the time. So I was just checking like, how is it made, and I came up to what was then like Moperscape, which was private servers for RuneScape, and I just found like RuneScape source codes, and I just I don't know how it really went, but I happened to like get in contact with someone on the forums, and he explained me how to like set up your own private server. And that was actually my first time I started coding. And on Moperscape there was tons of people sharing their things they made, the things they built in their server, and I just copy pasted it, put it in my, changed color, changed some values, just and all in Notepad. It was so strange for me. I didn't even know there was something else like Notepad++ or any IDE like Eclipse back then, which was really hype. I never heard about it, so I was always working with Notepad, always being frustrated. I have one Ctrl+Z, and if I had an arrow, I get 9,999 arrows, because if you have an arrow at one place, everywhere is an arrow.
Yes.
I still remember those days, and there was like one moment where my brother told me like, hey, I got some friends at school, and they are gonna study game development. Did you ever heard about it? Like, no, I don't even know what it is. He said, yeah, you should check it out. It's looking exactly what you are doing. So I was okay. I was looking at it, and I did like a trial lessons at college just to check out, and I saw first time ActionScript, and it was exactly what I was doing, but like with all these tools and all these colors actually, like
So cool.
methods having colors, and I was like really overwhelmed by it. I thought like, oh, this is so awesome. This is exactly what I wanted, because when I broke my knee, I lost my biggest passion. I broke my knee, and I've been in what is it, like revalidation for over 3 years. I've been in and out of a wheelchair, even been to parties in a wheelchair. There's like iconic pictures of me being crowd surfing in my
That's
wheelchair.
great. You're like, the party doesn't stop. So, what was it like going from this was my passion to now I have to find something else? How did you get through that?
Well, for me, it was, I think, the toughest thing in my life. But it all just happened as well.
Mhm.
If you get in the hospital, and and they say like, yeah, you broke your knee and it's really bad and something went wrong, because like in first place, my knee shouldn't be as broken as it was, because it was like one part of of a bone in my knee stuck out, and when they put it back, it broke to middle. So there went something wrong there. So yeah, and yeah, then you really feel like your whole life falling apart, and they also said like, yeah, and it's gonna be tough for you, because you're a sports guy, you are someone who have problems dealing with not walking. If you have, they really said if you were a gamer and you could just game all day, you wouldn't really notice, and it will heal out of itself just by gaming. But for me, I was so eager to get up and to go to the gym again. And that was also my biggest mistake back then, that I went to the gym too fast, which made it worse and made the revalidation longer and longer, till the point now where I still have troubles with my knee every day. But uh, it also somehow brought in the programming in my life from the day in the hospital, that I just started to look at how it worked, and just making my own server, just trying around, making some funny models, putting them in, and give them to some people who gave me $1 to to help me a little bit. Yeah,
Dang. That's crazy, man. And so, how old were you when you had that accident?
I was 15.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, so you were near the beginning. But that's still crazy to think that like my whole life's gonna be this way, and it just shatters in 1 second.
Yeah.
And then, but you see how it ended up turning out for the best, because then you got into programming, and then now you've spotted up to like 10K. You have all this amazing Instagram followers and posts, and
Exactly.
so.
But that's also like what I, because I started like more to see like my road was pretty tough, and I'm 100% sure there are a lot of other people having a tough road as well, and I want to help them like not push them, but inspire them to push themselves to keep going, keep believing, keep knowing that it wouldn't stay as harsh as it is now right now. And that's like my main goal to achieve, to just share and inspire.
So you've been in that headspace. How would you help others who are also in that headspace? Like, oh my no, my life totally like gonna change right now. My leg's broken. Like, what would you say to them right now?
Yeah, it sounds cliche, but it will all get well at some point. But yeah, the biggest issue is always you never know when. You know.
Yeah,
And
that's a hard one because a lot of people want it to happen right now, and they'll maybe start going into like drinking or some other stuff, like playing too many games and not really trying to figure it out like you did. Do you think it's just a mindset thing, or do you think there's something that can help them out that you went through? Like,
yeah, for me, I went a lot to the woods. So I just went to the woods. I just liked. I lived in a village where we had woods places, and I was always into it since a little child. So I knew like spots where you have. It sounds really strange, but you have planted trees, and where planted trees are from outside our region, there's no animal there, so no noise. So I always went to those spots where it's like completely empty. There's nothing around you, and just relax. Just take it all in. Just think about what you want to do, and just wait. And let it come over. You know, just let it come by, and know if you stay humble, stay motivated, keep having your visions on a goal. It will somehow it will eventually you will get there. Doesn't mean you will get there tomorrow or next month, maybe in a few years, but if you keep your eyes on that goal, you will get there. I'm 100% sure about it.
and so, how long did you spend in the woods? Was it like a couple hours, a few minutes?
It depended. If it was starting to rain, I had to leave early, but
No, I got you.
it really depended. Sometimes it was just, most likely I went there like at 8 and then I left at 10. Sometimes I just, like, in the Netherlands you're legal to smoke weed, and I just went there, smoked some weed, and just chilled down a bit, and then I went home and started to look further at programming. That was always what I did, just to cool down a bit, to clear my mind, just reset a bit. Control F5, I always said.
Yes. So you would say it's more like a meditation, kind of? You kind of like went there, cleared your mind.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And I'm 100% sure everyone can do it. It's just like, even though you might live in a place where there's not like beauty around, like a forest, I had the luck to have, but there will always be maybe a park, maybe some spot where you can just chill down, where it's nice and quiet. Even though if you have to bike on your bicycle for 20 minutes to get there. I had the same. I had the moped then, and I just took the moped. I was in 10-15 minutes. I was in the woods and just chilled down till I feel cool down and ready to go again. And yeah, that was basically it. Because I was also not that kind of person who likes to talk about his problems. Like you have some people who like to talk about it and they get over it to talk about it, and I'm more someone who likes to absorb it and release. So that's like my way of dealing with stuff.
Okay.
What sort of skills, or I don't know, mindset kind of things do you bring into your current work that you started to cultivate when you were an athlete essentially? So in that time, what skills have transferred over into your program work?
I think my biggest skill to this date is to just fall down and know it will make you harder, and that's a tough thing, but just let it overcome. Just try, just do it. And when I was gymnastic, I fell so many times. I broke all my fingers, and they all healed back. And after it, they didn't break if I had the same mistake. So I think that's the best thing. Just also, like, if you have for example someone being a bit harsh at you at your company, just take it in. Don't be mad. Don't be just take it in. Reflect yourself, because if something goes wrong, you also have a part of it going wrong. So there's always both sides. And just reflect your own part and involve in it. I think that made me really strong in my current position at my job. And it's also you make a lot of friends with it, because sometimes people try to push their thing, or they think they have the best decision. And sometimes if there is like a conflict between those, just let someone say their part, listen, and take it in, absorb it, and then try to put in your part. And the more you do it, the more you reflect this, you get more into like a path where it's getting more stable, and you're getting a better voice in your company and at your position.
Diplomacy. It's all about diplomacy.
Yeah.
It's a good skill to learn.
Back into when you started learning programming, what was that like? Was that how long every day did you study for?
Oh, really long, to be honest. I was that guy in college who didn't stop learning, to be honest. But there was also a bit like if we go back again to like, I lost a big passion and I got a new one. That thing that transition made me more eager in learning programming, because it felt like it was my only way out. So, and just because of that, when I was in college, I studied. I stayed at college till end time, even if we had if it was finished at 2 o'clock, I will still stay to 5. If I had like some questions, I could go back to the teacher. I always had to go in the train for 1 hour. I always continued studying in the train, just because I liked it, and being an hour in the train is just boring. So I always enjoy just making stuff, building stuff, always thinking about systems and how to build them, how to break them as well. And
So you're saying studying, was it like computer science? Was it programming classes?
No, it was really game development. So
Just
in
game
the
development.
Netherlands, you can start with media game development, where you will do first half year, you will do web development and game development. And then after half a year, you can choose between web or game. And I did that at college, and after half a year, I chose game development. And then from then on, you have like 2 years straight where you're only gonna make games. That's also what I liked a lot about the college, that they will provide you basic info, but they cannot force you to become a certain programmer. Because you can become mobile programmer, you can become 2D, 3D, you can make advertisement games, you can web games, there's such a big variety. It's not just making a game, and everyone will learn to be a 3D game developer. So what they really did is they made groups, and they just gave you an assignment to say like, oh, in 4 weeks you need to make an asteroids game. And then you can have artists who say like, oh, I want to have it 3D. So you have 2 artists who say, oh, I want to have 3D. So you are forced to teach yourself 3D game development. Same with 2D. A lot of artists want to make 2D games. So then you force your team to make 2D games in 2 weeks. And that was just so much fun that you had like 8 hours in college just making a game with a small team. And at the end you get like you have to deliver, and you get what is it? In the Netherlands, it's like a grade from 1 to 10. So
okay, yeah, like A, B, C.
Yeah.
A great point. Okay, that's really cool though to have like all that time just to work on making games.
Yeah, it was a lot of practical things, and the best thing is like all our teachers were from the industry itself. So either they had a company or they were a programmer themselves, and they were working like 2 or 3 days a week at school. And you were just able to ask them questions if you were stuck in anything or you didn't get out of it. But also the nice thing was you were like everyone was in a team, so you can also ask other classmates like how they did solve stuff and things like that. So you really bond with your teachers, but also bond with your classmates to build cool stuff.
Nice. And so, while you're in school, did you make any sacrifices so that you could be who you are today? Like, did you hang out a lot with people, or did you just study, 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 repeat, go to sleep, study, study?
Yeah, I wasn't being a guy who went out a lot. So, and even if I went out, I had like a lucky position where when I was 12 years old, I started volunteering for a youth center in my village. And the youth center was mostly about having games. There was a pool table, darts, and all the stuff like that. And I didn't have much friends, so I always went there to meet people. And I really enjoyed it. It was close by my parents' house. At some point, I don't know how, but I got into the position to start volunteering, helping with events. So uh, when I was 16, I got in the position to get a key and open my own night. I had every Tuesday evening was my own evening. So I had my friends coming to that place, and I was actually then developing, and they were making music, they were playing pool, playing table football, table tennis, all those stuff, and I was just making games. And like once an hour, I asked them like, "Hey, can you come to test this? Hey, what do you think of this?" And that bonded us really a lot, and there was a lot of fun, and I think that also made it much easier for me to keep on studying because I was in an environment with my friends. They didn't care or didn't know anything about programming or game development at all because they were all like the same as me. They just really hadn't had much time to game at home, and they just were outside all the time or doing sports, being a lot busy with music. Um, and yeah, so it all came together, just a weird mix of guys making stuff, and one guy is making music, one guy it was beatboxing, one guy is just doing sports or doing darts, and I was making the games there, and it was just really fun.
That's awesome, though, having a good like support group of people who are going like getting after it, living their dreams, being creative together. Because when you're around creative people, it makes you more creative.
Exactly.
Yeah. So going back to you doing music, do you think you playing music and learning and practicing helped you learn and practice programming?
Not really, because well, it has two sides, to be honest.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I was like half a DJ, but that was also because I had my own event, and I called it Mountain Rave. It was like a rave kind of thing with dubstep, drum and bass, because my friends loved it a lot, and it was called Mountain Rave because our village name translated to English is mountain. It's Bergen in Dutch. So we called it Mountain Rave. And while I was doing that, because I broke my knee, like I said, like 9 years ago, I didn't had the ability to go out that much. So that brought me in, and I had like this lucky position to be volunteering in accommodation, which had the option to build like like a club where you can make like make music events. So doing all those stuff, I really learned a lot about organizing stuff, which also helps me nowadays with organizing and socializing with people at work and organizing your code even, because sometimes if you have certain problems in building a stage, you also have certain problems in building your code structure. It all helps just a little bit. I wouldn't say like, oh, if you're gonna build a music podium or a music stage, you also will use it in your coding. But I think just the matter of all it combined will somehow connect to each other, if you understand what I mean.
Back to programming, what what were some of the hard topics that you tackled, and then how did you tackle them?
Yeah, I think for me it was a bit like figuring out what I wanted to do, because I was always doing everything. I was just so much interested in programming that I never, even to till today, I never even chose a direction. To say like, oh, I want to be only backend. Oh, I want to be only front end. Or want to make 3D or 2D games or like shooter or adventure games. I never chose a direction, which is sometimes a bit of a struggle because other people do, and you see them like succeeding and making cool stuff, and you think, oh, I also wanted to do that. But on the other hand, I'm like too messed up in my head with all the other things I want to build and want to know and want to learn. So yeah, sometimes that's a big struggle. Further ado, yeah, like now looking back at it, I wished I knew a lot more about design patterns as I know now today. But because first of all, it would help me a lot because I had so many issues with my structure back then, which I have right now. But I think that's also just a big part of working for a company with a good structure, so you really see what the design pattern does to a certain technology. So yeah, I think that was my biggest struggle, and yeah, maybe math a little bit, but I loved games so much that that math was getting in there automatically, if you understand what I mean. Because at high school I hated math. I was always saying like, oh, I don't know why I should know how much liters of water fits in a 2x2 meter pool. Why should I know? But now being a game developer, I think like, yeah, if you have a 2x2 meter pool, it's maybe something can drown in it or something, so you have to calculate it, and that's so much more fun to experiment with, and having math and just playing around with it and seeing weird stuff happening, which is totally not what you wanted to achieve. That makes it so much more fun than just having a calculator and getting numbers.
It's so strange that they don't tell kids the point of learning math is to learn how to think and like how logic works. It's not really about making calculations because we have computers, we have spreadsheets, we have calculators. It's like we don't need to know how to calculate. It's about learning how to think about how to calculate,
Exactly. So yeah, I think in the beginning that was a bit harsh for me, but I was always being that guy in front of the class, and I also was always the guy providing the math, like the math homework to the other guys of the classmates. Just because I was always in front, and our math teacher went so quick that if you missed one lesson or you missed 10 minutes, you will be behind for the whole semester. So.
Dang.
But I always like kept on, and that I also had like a good bond with my math teacher, and I love to like stay longer, ask him questions, and that really helped me. So I also think that's like something you just have to discover, and that's also I think which is most important of programming in general, to just discover as much as you can, because once I just discover and see how something works, I get motivated to try more out of it,
Yeah, definitely. Like actually going deeper into a subject is such an interesting thing. And also if you've got encouraging mentors and teachers, it does make a big difference. Actually.
Yeah, I mean like an example was like at school we made like two balls bouncing, and they could bounce against each other, I liked it a lot, so I was just thinking like, oh, I want to make 100 balls bouncing and 100 balls bouncing against each other, and then I wanted to make one big ball getting into a pile of balls and bouncing them all in the directions, and just experimenting with it, playing with it, making something fun out of it. I think that's just really important to put your mind on that, to not just make the assessment, but to just go a bit further.
No, I loved everything you're saying. Actually, going through this interview, I'm hearing a lot of things that really stand out, that make me see why you are the way you are and where you are today. Because, for instance, you say when you broke your knee and you were like, you just kind of have to get over it. Like, a lot of people, that's common sense, but they can't really do that. But for you, like you and I feel like I get what you mean. For you going into nature, doing staying late for class is the biggest one, and I was like not a lot of people do that. But the fact that you're like, yeah, just stay later, or when people left for 2, I stayed till like 8. Like those are small things that like that stand out that like you might not be like, oh, I just did that, but like that's something different that a lot of people don't do.
This is gonna be another one of our quips that goes along with "Don't make WoW" or "Don't make WoW dragons." It's gonna be just get over it.
Just get over it. And that's the big one too in game development. Like,
it is true.
Bugs will happen. Get over it. Just keep going. I've spent so many hours
keep
on
going.
Unreal.
Exactly. I mean, that's the real takeaway there.
I don't know how many times I've heard that don't compile in Unreal, and I just like, I'll spend 2 hours until it get that little like successful. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I still see that today as well. Still at my job, you still have a lot of people who work really from 9 to 5. If you just stay 1 hour later, you will be in an empty office. That's still something happening in a lot of companies. But I mean, like I still really connect a lot with those people who also stay longer, at the company as well. And the funny thing is, almost always programmers who stay longer, in my opinion. I've had a lot that that you're just cleaning up and you just hear music from another room and you see a programmer working there. You just have a little chat about what you're working on. I love that a lot.
So for everybody who doesn't know, where do you work at?
I work at GamePoint, and GamePoint, probably not a lot of people know about it because it is one of the biggest social multiplayer games platforms, especially here in the Netherlands and Germany and stuff like that. But it's more targeted to women's for 50 plus. So it's games like a bingo game, a Yahtzee game. We have a poker game. We have other card games. It's like really casual social multiplayer gaming. I started here as an intern. I had my internship, my first internship at this company. It was actually really fun. We had like at our school we had presentations of your portfolio, and one of the persons from GamePoint gave my portfolio a 10. They really liked it a lot, and that's a bit how I got in touch with them. And I remember being at a conference talking with them, and I explained like, she did see my portfolio, and she said like, oh yeah, it's really good, and just come by the office tomorrow, and we will talk about the internship. And that's how I got in really quick actually. And when I started there, I came in like this prototyping team, which was a lot of fun. I just made like the IDs that game designers had, and I was the first programmer there in the company, because a lot of programmers are working in Kiev in Ukraine. We have two offices, so I was like the only one programming in the Netherlands, just to work side by side with the designers, make some fun games and some fun little things. They actually wanted to extend my internship, but that's also like one thing I really wanted, is because in internship you can try out. So I wanted to have 2 internships, because I had to do 2 at different companies to really know what is the best fit for me, because I was still like searching what I wanted to do and what I wanted to make. So the second internship I did was in augmented reality, and I liked it a lot for 4 months, but the last month of the 5th month I really started to get bored and didn't really enjoy it. So I really felt like it was a good decision to try out. So when I finished college, that I wouldn't choose to get into a virtual reality company, because it really doesn't fit. Like it doesn't really triggers me that much as I thought it would be. So yeah, after I finished my college, I just messaged one of the managers back then. I was an intern, and he just really said like, yeah, come by at the office tomorrow. And 2 days later, I was a full-time employee. And the first thing I had to make was also really fun. I was again a sort of prototyping, because I was still new. Mm-hmm. And I made in our bingo game, which is our biggest game. I think we have a few 100,000 people a day playing it. And I had to make some casino games for it, which were a lot of fun. I made Keno, Video Poker, Money Wheel, which maybe in the US they call Big Six, High Low, and Blackjack. all for in the bingo game, where if you have to wait for the bingo cards or the new bingo round to start, you could play some casino games to get some money or to lose some money.
If you have to wait for playing your game, you can play this other game.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it's still in there. People still enjoy it as well. And that was also where our Game Point Casino came from, which is actually the first game I really built it from scratch, from A to B from scratch to launch, with a whole new IP actually for the company, where we combined those mini games and the slot games we already had in one package to build for mobile, which was a lot of fun and brought a lot of creativity to me and gave me a lot of insights in the company, because building something from the ground up in the company framework learns you everything in the framework. I now know everything about it, and I know all insides out, and I love to share everything about it as well to people inside the company. Of course, because of NDA, I cannot tell everything, but yeah. After that, we came to the point to start making new games, and we started porting a game like a game which was already successful on web, which is called Card Party. And that was the second game I started up from scratch to the end to launch. Sadly, my companion programmer left then, so I had to do it all by myself in that time, together with a designer. But it was also a lot of fun, and now we are building again a new team to build some new cool games, which is going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow we probably will launch a new one. So I cannot tell about it yet, but it's a lot of fun and a lot of grinding in it as well, a lot of long hours, long days to build it. But I really enjoy making those games. And that's also something I always tell. Sometimes we have a few students at our company, and often people think that it's boring to make card games, boring to make games for 50 years old women. But I think it's just the matter how you look at it. Because it can be really challenging, because it's still a lot of fun, and still it is a game, and even though it's not a game you will play yourself, it's a game your mother might play. So why not thinking about like, oh, let my mother try it out, let her play around with it, and just try to think of systems to make the boring job more fun. You know, if you think like, oh, I have to do this thing again, I have to make this card again, just make a whole system to generate cards, to make multiple cards of it, to build new animations, to let artists build stuff with the cards, and you can put more control on optimization or something you're really interested in, and which can add a lot to a game people might even notice. So.
There's also something to be said for like making content for an audience that you're not familiar with, or you're not, you haven't got experience. As you say, it is a challenge, and it's always good to be challenged in your work, So yeah, value in it for sure. And that audience are still like a valuable group of gamers, and they're a large group.
Exactly, and if I can check at our public site how much now is playing.
Like online?
We have a lot of minutes played always.
You just opened the doors of heaven there. That was wow, that was bright.
Yeah, and I like it a lot to make something which is going to be played by a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's what
every day. But it looks like online it says 18,781 people are online today playing some casino games.
Yes, and I see yesterday there were 17,600,000 minutes played by people. Wow. And I think we had an average of 100 minutes per player, which is like MMO level, and that's for a bingo game. And just imagine that. So,
is it that much fun? I gotta try it.
Bingo's pretty fun. I love it.
Yeah, that's true. I've actually, to be honest, I haven't played it since elementary school.
Yeah. Gotta get back in it.
Yeah, I don't know. What am I doing?
What am I doing with my life? I'm not playing
Bingo.
It is a lot of fun. It's just fun to see because also our audience is just so connected to the company as well. You know, we have like a big chat and everyone is always active in it. There's always a big community. We have like Facebook groups, fan groups of the things, and also, but that's also something our company does really good. It's like engagement with the audience. We have, for example, every winter we have a Winter Wonder Week where we give away like real life stuff. Like we gave away free groceries for a month, free groceries for a year, goodie bags, all cool stuff. Yeah, groceries. Yeah, like free groceries. That was yeah, for a month.
For a month.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean? Like, is there a limit of how much you can get?
I think I'm not sure how it is, but I think it's like you get a certain amount of money each month which will cover up your groceries. Yeah, but
I'll be buying a bunch of ribeye steaks with that money.
It's just so much fun to see how much engagement you can put in with those people and how much they enjoy the company as well. Even though they always think like we control the odds, but the odds are still odds, so you can lose 10 times in a row. It's possible, and they still think I think we cheat something for them, but we never do. So it's just something funny to see.
Oh, it's amazing, man. You're first of all, you're very passionate about your game development programming and the job that you're working at, which shows with everything that you do. Two, I love what this Game Point is doing, where they're giving people free groceries. Like, you're literally changing lives by making games and having this community and being part of something bigger than yourself. I understand why you're so passionate about it. Yeah, like more than just painting.
But that's also, you know, that's also something you feel in the company, like this family feeling, and I really enjoy that a lot. So. And I like the variety of people. Like I said, we have an office in Kiev as well, in Ukraine. So it's not only in the Netherlands. We have like multiple places. We talk a lot with them, and we have people in our office from all over the world. I work sometimes with someone from Mexico. I work from someone from Turkey in my team, and you know, it's just a lot of varieties. And my old colleague was from Spain. It's just so much fun and so much different mindset, different backgrounds as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to get into the big part of all this, your Instagram page. Because it's first of all, the quality of the photos are on point. Do you take those photos, or do you have like use your girlfriend do it?
No, I take them with my own Pixel 4 and.
But how? Because you're like doing something on the computer, and you have the picture being taken.
Yeah, but you can put a timer on, put it on 10 seconds, put it on the statue, and just let it do it.
It's so easy nowadays. I thought you had like one of those big cameras that everybody has, but no.
Oh yeah, I'm like a big Google fanatic, and I love Google Pixel products, and I love how technology can change a simple picture to a high resolution picture. That's what I love a lot about Google. That's why I really like their products, and I always have Pixel.
Okay, so then now into the tips. When did you start like making these posts where you started giving like programming tips? And what got you motivated to do that?
I don't know when it really started. I don't think it. I think it wasn't that long ago. I know I started making programming posts like years for like I think 5-6 years now. Like being in the train, making a picture of me programming in the train. And
wait, so that's 5-6 years ago. How many followers did you have 5-6 years ago?
I think 200-300.
5 to 6. Okay, so from 200 to 10,000 to 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, but I literally had 3 years ago. I had 1,000 followers for the first time.
So then even okay, wow, that's a long time. So it took 3 years to get to 1,000, and it took 2 to 3 years to get to 10,000. I'm just trying to get all the numbers together to get people to see that it takes time. That's the one thing that I like.
Yeah, that one thing as well. And
yeah,
and you shouldn't really do it for the followers. And what I do it for the reactions I get, like the questions I get in my personal messages are the best in my opinion. I really love to answer them, even though there's like 80% of people just saying, "Hi, bro, can you hack someone's Facebook?" That habit.
Are you serious?
Every day. I think I get 5-6 of those messages every day. And not even small pages. I even had like pages who had 50 or 60,000 followers asking me to hack someone's Instagram, or if I can help them getting their Facebook account back. Or I think, like, what do you think? I don't think anyone knows how to do that. So, and I always say, like, if someone knows how to do it, they will scam you with it. So just don't ask.
Yeah, if somebody says they know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can help you get your Facebook account back. You get in, there's support links that you can go to that guide you through a process. If you can answer their questions, you can get your account back. That's pretty much what it comes down to. There is no hack, though. It's hilarious. I've had friends of mine, basically say to the effect, they're like, "I just assume that when I walk into your house, you've hacked my phone already." And I'm just like, what? I'm like, yeah, you're a programmer, right? So you guys can do that. It's like, it's the most hilarious thing.
That's true, though. No joke.
Yeah, just be like, but I could, but I'm not.
Yeah, I could. I don't. But...
Well, I only did like one time hacking, which was at college, which was a lot of fun actually. That was like in college, it was called Media College. It was a fun story. And there's like all kind of stuff, and we also have like this actor. People wanted to become an actor classes, and those people are always loud in the lunchrooms, and they often had like this Bluetooth speaker, And at some point, I was with a classmate, and we thought like, fuck it, we're just gonna hack one of the speakers. Just try to take over the Bluetooth with our PC. And just try to shock them, And at one point we did. We just both did with Kali Linux. We did like I don't remember which thing it was. It was something released because of Mr. Robot with his Bluetooth hacking. It was like a new thing on Kali Linux, and we just tried it, and somehow we got in by just trying things out and just thinking like, oh, maybe it's this Bluetooth, or maybe it's this, and we got over, put some Google translation on, and put like oh you're hacked like translation, so it speaks it over and over again. And it was just so funny. They immediately went out of the lunchroom. But that's the only time I really hacked something.
Hey, I haven't had that moment yet where they're like, can you hack this? But it's kind of the same thing with the artists, where they always like, hey, can you make this for me? Can you do this for me? Do that for me? I'm not gonna lie, I did that once to one of my friends. I was like, hey, can you make this? But it's like, we got our own things, and it takes longer than you think. Like, they assume, oh, you hack it in like 2 minutes, because all those like movies will show like the coding things literally like coming down the screen. They're not even like typing that fast. It's insane.
Yeah,
that's really it. Is the movies make it seem like it's, and TV especially make it seem like it's easy. It's like, it's because being able to hack something is a good theatrical device for telling a story.
Yeah.
And so if you need to get a piece of information that's stored on a computer, then you get in contact with the computer person who can hack it for you. Like, that's just something that you can do in a story. That's not how it works in reality.
No, so they have that one website, Hacker Typer. You just start typing and you get like functions of code, and you're like, wish you could do that in real life.
You can also you can best just push something on GitHub, and it will just look like you're hacking something as well. Just use GitHub just to commit just a message and just push it, and all the messages you get out of it, people will think you're hacking.
It makes people think you're hacking, exactly. Yeah. Oh, look, he's doing hacking stuff.
Actually, that reminds me of the post you did today about GitHub and just doing Git. So I want you to explain to the GameDev.tv community what exactly you meant by your post, and like why should somebody start committing today and doing all this stuff with Git?
Well, I was always so scared of Git. Always. I always thought I would make a mess up, or it just felt so magical that
That's
code
why.
merges together. It always felt strange, and I still remember like being in the company in the beginning, and we had this big branch with all the sources in it, and I always heard like in like the big chat people complaining like, oh, you broke the whole source code, what the fuck, like, just get it back, or like, oh, why did you upload an image of 10 megabytes? We don't have enough space for it, stuff like that. It was always like it just felt like like being in college and just doing some Git stuff for myself. It's like driving in a village, but at some point you have to go to the highway, and the highway was in the company, and just being the first time between all those fast driving cars and trucks coming by, and it's just so scared for the first time. But once you get on that highway a few times, and maybe you made a few fuck ups with getting into the right lane, or you forgot to put on your blinker and you get someone mad at you because you didn't show them where you went to. It's all a learning process, and you can only learn it by doing it. It's exactly the same by driving a car. It's just the longer you drive the car and the more places you drive, the better you know how to drive anywhere. And that's the same with Git. Just when the more branches you make, and the more at some point when I really understand it to make branches, I thought like, oh, I have an idea in my head, but I also have a deadline. But I have I have some time to just try it out, but I don't want to screw up my whole repository and have to start over again. So you just make a branch, just try it in there. Maybe it works in one time. Maybe it doesn't happen that often, but maybe it works that time in the first run. And you can just merge it back to your main branch and continue working, and fix your deadline. So that's really what I wanted to say, and I also wanted to say it in a way how I would say it to myself. If I would see myself like 6 years back in college, I would tell myself, just get ready for, just get ready for when you get in the company. So just try it. Now is the time you can experiment. Now it's the time you can crash. Now it's the time you can screw up your whole repository without getting people mad, and maybe you learn things you can put in the company to say like, oh, you're doing something wrong. So I think maybe this is a better approach, and then you get your voice out there immediately. So yeah, I think and it's also really underestimated as well with Git. I don't see people talking about it that much, but I don't know any company who doesn't use any version control. Yeah. They all do. They all use it for their automation. I mean, like we also have our ticketing systems, our reviews. They all read out a Git branch. They all create branches. They merge them automatically. They create pull requests, create a review in a third-party software. It's all connected. So it's so important, especially in game development, to know how Git works. Just because you will get into it eventually, and just to prepare yourself to not be that scared kid I was in the beginning, and just you just have to feel like you already have a sports car and you can get up in the highway really quick, and yeah, that's what I want to achieve with it.
Couple of things to add to that. Yeah, Git by far is the most popular source control system out there these days. But yeah, everything that you said is very, very true about learning how to deal with branching and merging and all of that kind of stuff. One place that I found was really useful for kind of getting your head wrapped around those kinds of concepts is working on game jams. Find any and all game jams that you can get involved in and work on small teams. It gets you the opportunity to work with source control and learn how to merge projects and all of that kind of stuff.
Exactly, but you should exactly work with teams then. That's something I didn't do that often as well. But especially working with teams and getting conflicts with other people instead of conflicts with yourself will teach you much more.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I worked with one guy who basically said every time he merged his code, he did some kind of like he basically did something that moved the head into a new folder, in his repo every single time he did a commit, and it was just like, wait, I don't know how you're doing that, but that's definitely not the right thing to do. It was kind of funny because he took the head of the master branch into his own GitHub repo or something like that, on accident. I don't even remember what happened, but basically the first time I worked with a group on a Git repo, yeah, it was hilarious because nobody on the team had ever worked on a shared repo like that before.
Yeah.
So it was a nightmare. So yeah, it's definitely a skill you want to learn.
Exactly. And you need to know what to ignore and what to not to push and what to push. Because, for example, with Unity, especially with programmers, if you work together with artists, it's really you need to make strict guidelines. Because if a programmer works on a prefab, an artist as well, but the artist is implementing a lot of art and stuff to really visualize the prefab, and the coder is just linking his code to do whatever it does. They always get conflicts, and an artist never knows what happens, so they always get scared and think their computer is gonna explode. But but
That's right.
so what we always do, we always say like, yeah, just let the artist do the prefabs and only push prefabs after the artist did, and just knowing and seeing those kind of conflicts, because having a conflict with a prefab, it's so hard to figure out because it's all like the serialized data and it's not really understandable to see what's going wrong and which head you have to take and which you don't have to take. So you cannot really diff merge it to really see and fix it. So yeah, it's really good to work in a team, so you can also see like a bit of structure and hierarchy in who is pushing what. But that especially if you work in a company, you will face that quite immediately and learn to work with that really fast. So don't be scared about it now that you think like, oh, there's so much going to be happening and this is going to be a tough path to get in when you start in the company. No, it's just like prepare yourself to make it a little bit more easier for you when you start getting to work for a company.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, and also branch out to different version controls, because like everybody does source tree, but then I tried Preforce with Unreal. That's what EA uses. And that's a whole different ball game. I opened that up and I was like, I don't know what is going on.
There's Subversion, there's Team Foundation Server, there's bunches of them. Like I was saying earlier, Git is by far the most popular of them, but yeah, the concepts are a little different in some of the other ones that are referred to as like conventional source control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So Justin, couple of things before we wrap this up. What advice would you say for anybody just starting out wanting to learn programming? What would you tell them?
Just do whatever interests you the most. That's the thing I always want. I always tell everyone. I get this question also a lot daily. People asking me like, hey, how should I start out? Hey, how should I do this? Hey, do you have tutorials for me to follow? And I always say like in the beginning, I always say just go to Khan Academy, which is just, I think, a great platform to learn the basic fundamental of programming. And it's all in JavaScript, and it doesn't really matter if it's more web-based than game development. You shouldn't really care about it. It's just about programming. Know what arrays are, know what vector map is, know what variables are. Just get to know about it and get comfortable with it. Because if you are not comfortable with programming, it's going to be a tough path. And once you become comfortable, it's just all about your interest. If you are interested in making systems, in making your own engine, just try to search how other people did it and try to copy that. And once you copy that, just try to break it and repair it. And that way you just keep on learning and learning and learning. And as long as you do what you are interested in most, so if you enjoy making 3D games, just search a lot of 3D games. How are they made? Just look at 3D mathematics, build some cool stuff. Just make some blocks rotating or moving, and it's just as long as it comes out of your own interest and not because you think like, that game developer makes a lot of money, or oh, that's really cool what they make. Just because what you like the most, it's the most important thing to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. Well said. And then, how do you come up with the topics you're going to talk about for your Instagram posts? Is that like something you plan out, or do you wake up and you're like?
No, it's actually all my photos and all my text are shot and written and post live in 1 hour. Always the thing, and it's just something which is on my mind in that day. I mean, like the post of yesterday about Git, I was just, I was wrapping up. I was writing the Git post, and I was pushing Git to the repository. And I was thinking like, oh yeah, I remember how scared I was of Git. So then I thought like, what advice would I give myself 6 years ago? And I thought like, oh yeah, I would say this and this. And I thought like, oh, I would just write it down and just post it. And that's with everything. I just what's up in my mind on that day. I think like, oh, that's interesting to share. I just share it.
Nice. Awesome. Well, it was great having you on. And before we wrap this up, we want to give you a challenge to the GameDev.tv community. Be anything, programming.
Yes.
Digital. What challenge do you have for the community?
I think I have an interesting one, which I often have problems with other programmers as well, because if I look at myself, I always develop things not just for myself. So start to think working with other people and be a designer's best friend. Because for me, I always, like designers love to work with me because I put everything up flexible and make tools with too much options for them to choose, but they feel in control. So challenge yourself to build something. You can give the control to something else, to someone else. And that can be a card system where you can change the whole animation flow by just adding changing some configuration. Just give it to an artist and they can play with the configuration, maybe do some drag and drop stuff. Just create something which is not only helpful for you, but also for someone else. Because that will help a lot in a company, and I think a lot of games company need more people to build stuff which is useful for everyone and can be reused by any team. So
it's a great challenge. And so so thank you for coming on, and we appreciate everything. Congratulations on the 10,000 followers.
Thanks
And
a lot.
we usually like to end this off by handing the mic to you to give any shout outs, to give any last words. But yeah, thank you for coming on, Justin.
Yeah, well, I don't have any special people I should shout out to, but all my followers, I want to give a shout out to them because how much I try to motivate them, they motivate me as well. And how much I try to inspire everyone, they inspire me as well. So I'm really thankful for that. And I really love all the messages and heartwarming texts I get and fun questions I get, which I also sometimes learn of to explain. So I really love to build that community and be part of that community as well, because even though I am sort of head for some with having the follower base, I feel being in the middle of it as well.
Well, that's it. Thanks for listening. You can find all GameDev.tv courses at courses.gamedev.tv/courses or in the show notes with a 10% discount. Get started with your game development journey today.